In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Jake Johnson, and you are watching Untethered Live, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is the deep end, and we will go off it together, one step at a time, way off the deep end, and then back. Hey, already there's an April rain. How are you? Did you have a good Christmas? Were you tired yesterday? I missed you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome all, friends, countrymen, Internetonians. Welcome to the show. This is it. This is what we do. It's Bible study, Monday night. Ready to rock and roll. Ready to get into the real stuff. We've got through all the other stuff, and now it's time to get into the real stuff. We have made it through all of the genealogies and Babylonians and blah, 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 blah for hours and hours. Now it's time to get into the real stuff. Now we start tonight in the book of Job, a real story. It's going to be exciting. You've been under the weather. I'm sorry. You don't have the... Do you? You know the... Hope you don't have that. That would be bad. But you'll survive it if you do. Anyway, I'm sorry to hear you feeling bad. Hey, there's 420. What's happening, brother? Good to see you, too. I always have to look at that for a minute, because every time I see it, I think Gatsby. What are you talking about? Great Gatsby? No, that's not what that means. I'm old, so you have to give me a minute. I'm a little slow. But gesture taken, and I appreciate it. And I can't wait to get into this book again. Last night we had some internet problems there towards the end, and tonight when I got on, it froze up on me again. So I don't know if we're going to have trouble again or not, but we'll see. See if we can't make it through this one. 420 says he hopes you feel better, April. You don't think so? It's probably the flu. It is flu season. People seem to have forgotten about the flu, but it still exists. Do-do-ba-ba-do-ba-dow. It's a lovely day today. Went out and saw my buddy that's in the nursing home. I went and saw him. He's supposed to be on here tonight. I don't know if he's going to show up or not, but he might pop in and say hello. He's doing much, much, much better. You can see the life returning to his face. It's quite nice to see. Thought he was a goner for sure, but he made it. It was a bad situation he was in. He had a infection that turned into sepsis and nearly took him out. He was just about dead when they got him to the hospital. But he has fought his way back from the brink, and he's here. Well, at least you're being creative, bot. At least you're coming up with something new to say. That ain't going to change the fact that you're out of here, though. I don't know who you are or what you want, but You're not getting it from me. Done. Thank you. It's probably my luck. That thing is probably trying to tell me that I've won $1 million. I've been trying to reach you for days and you keep banning me. Maybe you should be more forthcoming with your information. Anyway, yeah, it's good to see that he's surviving that and getting better, back on his feet. He's about a month away from going home, which I can't wait for that. No, he is getting better every day. You did good, April. You got him. That's what that wrench is for. Make me not have to think about it. Anyway, I did that, and I went by and saw my sister for a minute, hung out with her. Then I came home and passed out. That's pretty much what I've done today. Tomorrow is a different story. I got to work tomorrow. And then I'll be off for the rest of the year. Go back January 1st. Your first removal? I thought you did that last week. Okay. You should be proud of yourself. A strong arm, April. Show them muscles. Don't let them give you no shit about your ponytail. Makes you feel strong, doesn't it? Makes you feel like you're invincible, like you got the power. Use it wisely. With great power comes great responsibility. Well, those guys that put out that nonsense, you can go ahead and remove them because they're some kind of bot. I don't know what they're doing, but they're not doing something that's good for us. So, out of here. If it's somebody that's just showing off, you can give them a timeout and warn them, tell them not to act that way, whatever. Maybe I'll send you a gold-plated wrench for Christmas. You can run around the house going, I have the power, I have the power. Bonk. Anyway, just shooting the breeze for a minute and hoping everybody else will show up and see who all's going to get here, and then we'll get started. We'll dig right in. Waiting for that magic number 4. Okay. A lot of meds. Do you feel better? That's good. That is fantastic. Glad we're all getting back on our feet, making it through this nonsense, one day at a time. That prednisone is good for you, though, but don't stay on it. It ain't good long term. But a couple years ago, I lost my voice, kind of like I've got going on right now, only it was laryngitis then. This is not laryngitis. But I had lost my voice for almost a whole year. And I had some shows coming up, and I needed to get better, and I wasn't getting any better. So I put myself on prednisone, and within a week, I had my voice back. I don't know, whatever it did to my body. My body needed it, so I believe in prednisone. Yeah, you don't need to be in the clouds, April. You're already there. But I don't think prednisone will put you on the clouds. That's just a steroid. I think you're thinking about pain medicine. You're taking the chemo pills. Does that mean you don't have to go in and get the needle in you and sit in that uncomfortable chair for 2 hours? That's pretty cool if that's the case. I have mixed feelings about chemo. I've seen it work. I mean, I know that it can function as intended, but it's actually poison. It's actually killing you and everything else. And hopefully you don't die before the cancer does. I think that's the idea. And it baffles my mind that they can't think of a better way to do that. It is such a simple problem. I wish that somebody could figure out a better way to do it. I had 7 harsh rounds of chemo and a bone marrow transplant. It's any medicine to have a chemical reaction to anything. Yeah. In 2010, says 420. My face keeps me alive. Faith. Well, listen, however you go about it, that is the way to do it. Being alive is the end goal of that. So if faith does it, fantastic. Chemo does it, fantastic. I hate that anybody has to go through that because I've heard of the stories. Everyone in my family has died of cancer except for me, and I'm working on it. So I can understand. I can see it, Don't mean I can understand. I haven't experienced it yet, but I can see it. And I don't know that I have the wherewithal to go through what you're going through. Faith in Mary Jane keeps people alive. Well, I've heard that works too. And if that helps, power to you. If you can be strong-willed enough to beat it, you are the man. And I guess it also depends on what kind it is, what kind of cancer it is. If it's a certain kind, there ain't much you can do about it. But other kinds I've seen, they've had good results with. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. And we're thinking the same about you. And we want to see you getting back up on your feet and taking the world on. Get that crud out of you. This is what I know about cancer. It eats sugar. So if you can limit the amount of intake of sugar that comes into your body, you can almost starve it out. And couple that with chemotherapy, you should have a good shot about it. If it ain't one of those kinds that you can't do much about. Show an example of faith, that's right. And that's how God works, by the way. That He shows people what He can do by showing people what He has done. I.e., that's why I tell everybody about me not having to need anything since I started this thing. That is a true fact. You can ask anybody that knows me. When I first started this thing, I was driving a motorcycle that broke down all the time in the cold weather. I could barely go anywhere. Now I have a car because I just happened into a car, and one that I could purchase with no money and work towards paying it off. Now, I'm not rolling in it, don't get me wrong. I haven't had one penny more than I've needed, but everything I've needed, I've got. The money just shows up. That's God. That's not me. There's nothing I've done. And then, bills get paid and things happen. People come into the podcast, and it seems like they need to be here. They need to hear something that's being said. That's not me either. I take no credit for it. It's God. But that is an example of how God works. And he works that way through you too. You can show people, maybe somebody there at the chemo place losing their faith a little bit, and you could say, hey, look, I'm still here. And it's because of my faith. Maybe you should think about it. However you go about it. Maybe not in those words, but you know what I'm saying. I bet it was hard. That's why I tell you guys not to be a crybaby, but just to show you God really is good. Yes. And nobody thinks you're a crybaby for sure. You got to be tough to make it through that. That is not a easy thing to accomplish, getting through a round of chemo, let alone a bone marrow transplant and chemo. I don't even want to think about it. But I can tell you, you got to be tough to make it through all that stuff. You always do talk to the cancer patients. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. You're doing a good job. You don't even have to be pushy about it. You can just say, hey, look, this is my story. Take it or leave it. Don't cast your pearls before swine. If they don't want to hear it, you don't have to tell it to them. But if you got it and they want to hear it, let them have it. God says to testify. He doesn't say to beat anybody over the head with it. You know what I mean? That's why I don't like those people that run up to you in the street. Have you heard the good news? Yeah, we stopped bombing Libya yesterday. Not that good news, the other good news. Well, what good news do you have? I like playing with them. Because my relationship with Jesus is none of their business. That's between me and God. Same thing with you. You'll never hear me get in your business about God. Believe him, don't believe him, that's your business. Ain't my job to save you. It's just my job to educate. That's it. I'm not in the soul business. But a lot of these preachers out here think they are. And I think that's giving themselves too much power. There was a guy that didn't want treatment. He was a Jehovah's Witness, but I still tried to help him. It's good for you. Them Jehovah's Witnesses, man, they get some crazy thoughts in their heads. I don't know if I like them or not, but the ones that I've talked to don't seem to be on the same page as I'm on. Don't seem to have read the same book I read. And when one of them told me that he thought that angels were in the top positions of the Jehovah's Witnesses and that they lived here on earth, I was like, yeah, you're going to have to show me that. I don't think I can take that one on faith. I want to see one. But I think that's what they believe, that they're really physical angels running the Jehovah's Witnesses. Strange. I was like, you realize that angels were created to be servants, right? They don't do anything that God don't tell them to do. They don't run organizations and such. He wouldn't even take blood. Wow. See, I would have to tell him, I said, you realize that God designed man to have the power to create medicine. That's God's work, medicine. It's not against God. Yes, some of them aren't good at it, and some of them do things they shouldn't do, but the idea of man using medicine is from God. He gave us the ability to understand that stuff so that we could take care of ourselves. There's no reason you shouldn't accept treatment other than you want to die quick. He said he had to be whole to go to heaven. That's not true at all. You don't even have to be human to go to heaven. What I mean is, you could tattoo 666 from head to toe, and that wouldn't keep you from going to heaven, because that has nothing to do with your soul. Yes, it's damaging to your flesh, but once you leave this flesh, you no longer need this flesh. It's left in the dust. Your body is your temple, but it's a spiritual body, not a physical one. I'm sure he didn't last long, no. Not if he refused all treatment. I had a guy last week or so come in. He come in and he left. But he asked me one question. He says, I happen to notice that you're smoking a cigarette. Isn't that a sin? And I was like, I don't think so. No. He goes, isn't your body your temple, and you destroying it is a sin? I was like, can you show me where the 10 Commandments says that? He says, well, the Old Testament talks about that. But the Old Testament was talking to the Jews, a particular group of people that were to run a tabernacle. Those people have to follow all those weird rules, not everybody else. And he left. I don't think he liked that very much, but that's what the Bible says. There is a clear delineation between the teachings of the Jews and the teachings of the Gentiles. That's the whole reason Paul was brought in to teach instead of James. You know, James kept teaching, but he taught the Jews. He taught the circumcision. Paul started teaching the Gentiles the uncircumcision because it's necessary, because we're different people than the Jews. Lots of different beliefs, and it's actually a daunting job to get all those people converted. But that's the reason for Paul, is because there's two different teachings going on. I love the way you explain the word, and it's inspiring, Jake. Truly. Thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate that. I'm putting air in my tire. I missed it. Oh, there it is. I'm putting air in my tire, guys, but I'm paying attention. Make sure you keep your tires aired up. What was that you said, 420? You deleted it before I could read it. Anyway. But so anyway, I tried to explain to this guy that, no, smoking might cause me to have lung cancer. It might cause me to have heart disease or something like that, but it's not going to stop me from going to heaven. I mean, I'm aware of the problems that it can cause me. I realize that it's not good for me, but it's not a sin against my soul. And yeah, you're right. We're all sinners, no matter what. That's the part of being human. And you're born that way. That's the reason Jesus died, to cover those sins, because there's nothing you can do about that. You are a sinner even if you're just born. So my smoking is just one more notch in the peg. That's not a deal breaker, you know. And the reason that I smoke on the air in the first place, initially this show started out as being something kind of like the old Tonight Show. It was laid back and it was meant to have that kind of atmosphere. And then it morphed into this. And, also I smoke. So my question would be, would you rather I pretend I didn't smoke? Would that make you feel like my words have more weight? What if I wore a suit? Would that make you think that I know more what I'm talking about? If I wore a big expensive suit and a Rolex and didn't smoke, would you believe me then? I don't think it matters. I'm just a person. I'm just reading the word. If you studied it as much as I've studied it, you'd know exactly what I know. I don't hold anything special over you. I forgot it was a misspell. I understand. I know how it is. Anyway, let's get into Job, shall we? Hey. I'm going to start back a little earlier than we left off. So you may recognize some of this if you heard it last night, because I don't know exactly when the stream cut off. So I want to make sure I cover it. But it's good information, so it doesn't matter if we read it twice. So let's get into it, shall we? If you got your Bibles handy, crack them open to Job chapter 12, verse 1. That's where we're going. Pow wow. I'm excited. This is a good book and well written. There are consequences to the choices we make. That's correct. But they don't all damage our soul. They may damage our body, but they won't damage our soul, because ultimately your belief in Jesus is the only thing required to go to heaven. For God so loved his son that he gave his only begotten. God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish and have everlasting life. That is the requirement. That's the only requirement. Nothing else matters. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that you like that I'm a human, regular person. That's the reason I am presented the way I'm presented. I thought about doing the uptight suit, tie, slick back hair, and the whole 9 yards, and I thought, who would believe me? I just look like every other charlatan out there. I'm trying to say something that's true. Who would you rather, a pencil-neck nerd that's never experienced anything in his life to tell you what's right and wrong, or a guy who has lived it, that knows better, that knows when you screw up it hurts? You can see it in my face. That's the guy I want teaching me. You know, I don't know. Anyway, Job chapter 12, verse 1. Here we go. And Job answered and said, No doubt, but ye are the people, and wisdom shall die with you. But I have understanding as well as you. I am not inferior to you. Yea, who knoweth not such things as these? I am as one mocked of his neighbor, who calleth upon God, and he answereth him. The just upright man is laughed to scorn. What does all that mean? Job has lost his entire family. He's lost every bit of money he had. He's lost all of his wealth. He's lost his strength. He's lost his protection. And he's lost his health. Now he's got sores from head to toe, and he's sitting in ashes because that's the treatment back then for this grievous, painful, itchy, fiery feeling of his whole body inflamed in welts. And he's questioning his faith. And what he's saying, he's got 3 of his buddies that have come down to comfort him, and most of them are just jabberjawing at him, being pious and uppity and telling him who he ought to be and how he ought to act and how he ought to be and all that good stuff. And Job is just trying to get through the day without wanting to die. So he's telling these guys, I'm no different than you are. I don't know a thing that you don't know. If I'm smarter than you, it's because I've studied more than you, and that's the only reason. You can achieve what I've achieved if you put forth the same effort. I'm just like you. I'm just like the neighbor who's laughed to scorn. That's what he's saying here. He that is ready to slip with his feet is a lamp despised in the thought of him that is at ease. Now, this is a little bit of an old Hebrewism, but it basically means that you get what you ask for. The tabernacles of robbers prosper, and they that provoke God are secure. Into whose hand God bringeth abundantly. And this is him questioning, why does it look like people that are out there doing wrong seem to be getting all the glory? I can see this guy's a sinner, yet he's making money hand over fist. Here I am trying to be righteous and upright, and my life sucks. What is the deal here? Has nobody ever felt that way before? Think about it. But ask now the beasts, and they shall teach thee, and the fowls of the air, and they shall tell thee. Or speak to the earth, and it shall teach thee, and the fishes of the sea shall declare unto thee. Who knoweth not in all these that the hand of the Lord hath wrought this? How do you not understand that all these things, good and bad, came from God? He's the designer and the creator of all these things, even the good stuff that happens to us, even the bad stuff. Is it his fault? No, it's life. But he is the designer. In whose hand is the soul of every living thing, that the breath of all mankind, that would be God. That's where it comes from. That's how you have it. Doth not the ear try words, and the mouth taste his meat? With the ancient is wisdom, and in length of days understanding. That means the old is where the knowledge is. And the older you are, the more you understand. He's saying, do not your ears try words. That means when you hear something, do you not think about it before you react to it? Do you not mull it over, process it? And when you speak, aren't your words tasted by your lips? Like, yeah, it's a figure of speech, but it means, don't you say good things when you try really hard to put a good sentence structure together? And then the ancient wisdom and the days of understanding. It's pretty easy to understand what he's lamenting his position in life. With him is wisdom and strength. He hath counsel and understanding. Behold, he breaketh down, and it cannot be built again. He shutteth up a man, and there can be no opening. That's God. Behold, he withholdeth the waters, and they dry up. Also, he sendeth them out, and they overturn the earth. That's the power of God. With him is strength and wisdom. The deceived and the deceiver are his. I'll read that again for those of you who don't understand what position the devil holds in this world. The deceived and the deceiver are his. They belong to God. There's nothing new under the sun. Satan is here to do a job. You understand? That job is to deceive, to tempt, to give you an option, because without options, there is no choice. If you are to have free will, then you must have bad in order to choose good. I don't know why this is such a hard concept to understand, but if Satan can walk straight into heaven where God is and say, hey, what's up? And nobody panics, I'm telling you, he belongs there. That's why he can do that. He leadeth counselors away spoiled, and maketh the judges fools. These big guys that run the show, the judges and the counselors, they don't hold a candle to the wisdom of God. They think they're something, but they're not. He looseth the bond of kings, and girdeth their loins with a girdle. He leadeth princes away spoiled, and overthroweth the mighty. He removeth away the speech of the trusty, and taketh away the understanding of the aged. He poureth contempt upon princes, and weakeneth the strength of the mighty. He discovereth deep things out of darkness, and bringeth out to light the shadow of death. He increaseth nations, and destroyeth them. He enlargeth the nations, and straighteneth them. That's God. He has all the power. He taketh away the heart of the chief of the people of the earth, and causeth them to wander in the wilderness, where there is no way. They grope in the dark without light, and he maketh them to stagger like a drunken man. Lo, mine eyes hath seen all this, mine ear hath heard and understood it. And what ye know, the same do I know also. I am not inferior unto you. Surely I would speak to the Almighty, and I desire to reason with God. But ye are forgers of lies. Ye are all physicians of no value. That's an insult. He's talking to his three friends here who have been jabberjawing to him for several pages now. Oh, that ye would altogether hold your peace, and it should be your wisdom. Hear now my reasoning, and hearken to the pleadings of my lips. Will ye speak wickedly for God, and talk deceitfully for him? Will ye accept his person? Will ye contend for God? Is it good that he should search you out? Or as one man mocketh another, do ye so mock him? He will surely reprove you, if you do secretly accept persons. That's hearkening back to a scripture that says God's no respecter of persons. He treats everybody exactly the same, sees everybody as the same. I read that. Shall not his excellency make you afraid, and his dread fall upon you? Your remembrances are like unto ashes, your bodies to bodies of clay, because that's what you are. You were made of clay, you'll return to clay. Hold your peace, be quiet. Let me alone, that I may speak. And let come on me what will. Bring it on, is what he's saying. Wherefore do I take my flesh in my teeth, and put my life in mine hands? Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. But I will maintain mine own ways before him. Now he's being a little hardy, a little hard-headed. That's what Job is being. You understand, when you get in this kind of turmoil, when you're in this kind of trouble, your first instinct is to question God and his reasoning for allowing it to happen. Your second thought is to doubt God, because why would God let such a thing happen? The third thing is to reconcile, and that is to realize that God is in control regardless of what you think, so you got to do you right now. And the fourth thing is to give in and allow God to do what he's doing. He also shall be my salvation, for an hypocrite shall not come before him. Hear diligently my speech. Pay close attention to what I'm saying, and my declaration with your ears. Behold, now I have ordered my cause. I know that I shall be justified. I have been righteous and a good man. I know in the end I'll go to heaven. Who is he that will plead with me? For now, if I hold my tongue, I shall give up the ghost. If I stop talking now, I'll just roll over and die. That's in what kind of condition I'm in. Only do not two things unto me, then will I not hide myself from thee. Withdraw thine hand far from me. Leave me alone. Don't touch me. Stay away from me. And let not thy dread make me afraid. If you show fear, I'll get scared. Don't let me see your fear. Then call thou, and I will answer, or let me speak, and answer thou me. How many are mine iniquities and sins? Make me to know my transgression and my sin. What have I done to deserve this? Count them up. Show me where I have erred, and show me why I'm in this kind of trouble. That's what he's thinking this right now. What in the hell? Why God? Why me? Why are you doing this to me? Have I done something to deserve this? It'd be one thing if I deserved it, then I could take it like a man, but I don't deserve it, so why should I suffer it? And God doesn't answer. Why doesn't God answer? Well, because right now, Job is being tested. He's being tested for his mettle to see what he's made of, to see if he'll curse God or not. And he gets awful close, and God will let him have it here shortly. You'd think that being that God allowed this to happen to him, that he would be sympathetic and comfort Job. That's not exactly what's going to come. And you need to hear God's response. Wherefore hidest thou thy face, and holdest me for thine enemy? Why are you treating me like an enemy and hiding yourself from me? Wilt thou break a leaf driven to and fro? Wilt thou pursue the dry stubble? For thou writest bitter things against me, and makest me to possess the iniquities of my youth. Thou puttest my feet also into the stocks, and lookest narrowly unto all my paths. Thou settest a print upon the heels of my feet. These are expressions of being in bondage, of being in slavery. Putting your feet in the stocks is having your feet bound, like having handcuffs, but made of wood that cover over your feet and lock on the side so you can't get out. And putting a print on the bottom of your foot is like being marked as a piece of property. And he, as a rotten thing, consumeth as a garment that is moth-eaten. It's got holes all in it, like Swiss cheese. That's what his body feels like right now, a rotten thing filled with holes. A man that is born of a woman is a few days and full of trouble. He cometh forth like a flower and is cut down. He fleeth also as a shadow and continueth not. And doth thou open thine eyes upon such an one, and bringest me into judgment with thee? Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? Not one. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. Turn from him that he may rest, till he shall accomplish as an hireling his day, the number of days. Remember, he said that a hireling, his days are numbered. So that's what he's saying now. As you have given me a certain amount of time on this earth, let me go ahead and get to the end of it so I can quit suffering. That's what he's saying. For there is hope of a tree, if it be cut down, that it will sprout again, and that the tender branch thereof will not cease. Though the root thereof wax old in the earth, and the stalk thereof die in the ground, yet through the scent of water it will bud and bring forth boughs of like a plant. So until that root dies, the tree has hope, even if it's cut down. But a man dieth and wasteth away. Yea, man giveth up the ghost, and where is he? As the waters fail from the sea, and the flood decayeth and drieth up, so man lieth down and riseth not. Till the heavens be no more, they shall not awake, nor be raised out of their sleep. What's he saying? When you die, you're dead. There is no coming back to your body. This flesh is no longer in use. When you die, your spirit goes instantly back to the Father who gave it to you. You were no longer in this vessel. And then this vessel returns to dust. And until the ends of time, this body ain't getting up again. So those of you out there who believe that, you are wrong. You are not out there in the grave. That is an empty husk. It has no meaning anymore, no use anymore. You will not be returning to it in a future time. Oh, that thou wouldest hide me in the grave, that thou wouldest keep me secret until thy wrath be past, that thou wouldest appoint me a set time and remember me. If a man die, shall he live again? All the days of my appointed time will I wait until my charge come. Thou shalt call, and I will answer thee. Thou wilt have a desire to the work of thine hands. When you call, I'll come a running, and I'll be ready to do whatever you ask me to do. That's what he's saying. He has no choice in the matter, but men have a way of feeling like they're in charge. For now thou numberest my steps. Dost thou not watch over my sin? My transgression is sealed up in a bag, and thou sewest up mine iniquity. And surely the mountains falling cometh to naught, and the rock is removed out of his place. The waters, where are the stones? You ever been in a little river and picked up a stone and noticed how round it is? It's because the water wears it down over time till it becomes a round stone. Thou washest away the things which grow out of the dust of the earth, and thou destroyest the hope of man. Thou prevailest forever against him, and he passeth. Thou changest his countenance, and sendest him away. I'm not so sure about all that, but that's what he's thinking right now. His sons come to honor, and he knoweth it not, and they are brought low, but he perceiveth it not of them. But his flesh upon him shall have pain, and his soul within him shall mourn. Then answered Eliphaz the Temanite, and said, Should a wise man utter vain knowledge, and fill his belly with the east wind? Should he reason with unprofitable talk, or with speech wherewith he can do no good? Yea, thou castest off fear, and restrainest prayer before God. For thy mouth uttereth thine iniquity, and thou choosest the tongue of the crafty. Well, yeah, he's in a lot of pain, and he's suffering, and he's lashing out. So, yeah, he's saying a lot of stuff he don't naturally mean, but he's saying it because that's what he feels. That's what men do when they're in suffering. And how dare you, as his friend, sit there and call him on it when you know he's in that kind of pain? Why not comfort him instead? Why not just agree with him and let him get it out of his system? Instead, you're going to call him on it like he's supposed to be accountable for what he's saying right now? Thine own mouth condemneth thee, and not I. Yea, thine own lips testify against thee, not me. I'm your friend, remember? Art thou the first man who was born? Or wast thou made before the hills? Hast thou heard the secret of God? And dost thou restrain wisdom to thyself? What knowest thou that we know not? What understandest thou which is not in us? How dare you think you know more than we do? With us are both the gray-headed and the very aged men, much older than thy father. Are the consolations of God small with thee? Is there any secret thing with thee? Why doth thine heart carry thee away? What do thy eyes wink at, that thou turnest thy spirit against God, and lettest such words go out of thy mouth? What is man that he should be clean? And he which is born of a woman, that he should be righteous? Behold, he putteth no trust in his saints. Yea, the heavens are not clean in his sight. How much more abominable and filthy is a man which drinketh iniquity like water? I will show thee, hear me, and that which I have seen I will declare. Which wise men have told from their fathers, and have not hid it? Unto whom alone the earth was given, and no stranger passed among them. The wicked man travaileth with pain all his days, and the number of years is hidden to the oppressor. The dreadful sounds in his ears. In prosperity the destroyer shall come upon him. He believeth not that he shall return out of darkness, and he is waiting for the sword. He wandereth abroad for bread, saying, Where is it? He knoweth that the day of darkness is ready at his hand. Trouble and anguish shall make him afraid. They shall prevail against him as a king ready to the battle. He stretcheth out his hand against God, and strengtheneth himself against the Almighty. He runneth upon him, even on his neck, upon the thick bosses of his bucklers. That's a shield. The bosses of a buckler, the big knobs that are on the outside of a shield that make it hard to penetrate. Because he covereth his face with his fatness, and maketh collop of fat on his flanks. He's getting big and bulky in his old age, and not really healthy enough to go to battle. And he dwelleth in desolate cities, and in houses which no man inhabiteth. which are ready to become heaps, the condemned lower side of the city. He shall not be rich, neither shall his substance continue, neither shall he prolong the perfection thereof upon the earth. He shall not depart out of darkness, the flame shall dry up his branches, and by the breath of his mouth shall he go away. Let not him that is deceived trust in vanity, for vanity shall be his recompense. It shall be accomplished before his time, and his branches shall not be green. He shall shake off his unripe grape as the vine, and shall cast off his flower as the olive. For the congregation of hypocrites shall be desolate, and fire shall consume the tabernacle of bribery. They conceive mischief, and bring forth vanity, and their belly prepareth deceit. Then Job answered and said, I have heard many such things. Miserable comforters are ye all. You're not doing a good job at cheering me up, boys. I've heard this before. Shall vain words have an end? Or what emboldeneth thee that thou answerest? I also could speak as ye do, if your soul were in my soul's stead. I could heap up words against you and shake mine head at you. But I would strengthen you with my mouth, and the moving of my lips should assuage your grief. Though I speak, my grief is not assuaged. And though I forbear, I am not eased. Or what am I eased? But now he hath made me weary. Now I'm tired of listening to him talk. Thou hast made desolate all my company, and thou hast filled me with wrinkles, which is a witness against me, and my leanness rising up in me beareth witness to my face. He teareth me in his wrath, who hateth me. He gnasheth upon me with his teeth. Mine enemy sharpeneth his eyes upon me. They have gaped upon me with their mouth. They have smitten me upon the cheek reproachfully. They have gathered themselves together against me. God hath delivered me to the ungodly, and turned me over into the hand of the wicked. Well, in a way, yes, but only for a short time. You just don't know that yet. I was at ease, but he hath broken me asunder. He hath also taken me by my neck, and shaken me to pieces, and set me up for his mark. True. His archers compass me round about. He cleaveth my reins asunder, and doth not spare. He poureth out my gall upon the ground. That's his innards, his belly, his intestines. He breaketh me with breach upon breach. He runneth upon me like a giant. I have sewed sackcloth upon my skin, and defiled my horn in the dust. My face is foul with weeping, and on my eyelids is the shadow of death. Not for any injustice in mine hands, also my prayer is pure. O earth, cover not thou my blood, let my cry have no place. Also now, behold, my witness is in heaven, and my record is on high. My friends scorn me, but mine eye poureth out tears unto God. Oh, that one might plead for a man with God, as a man pleadeth for his neighbor. When a few years are come, then I shall go the way whence I shall not return. My breath is corrupt, my days are extinct, the graves are ready for me. Are there not mockers with me? And doth not mine eye continue their provocation? Lay down now, put me in surety with thee. It's time. Who is he that will strike my hands with me? For thou hast hid their heart from understanding. Therefore shalt thou not exalt them. He that speaketh flattery to his friends, even the eyes of his children shall fail. But he hath made me also a byword of the people, and aforetime, a long time ago, I was a tabret. I was the guy that they came to for answers. I was a pillar of the community. And now I'm a byword. Now I'm just a memory. That's what he's saying. Mine eye also is dim by reason of sorrow, and all my members are as shadows. Upright men shall be astonished at this, and the innocent shall stir up himself against the hypocrite. The righteous shall also hold on his way, and he that hath clean hands shall be stronger and stronger. But as for you all, do ye return and come now? For I cannot find one wise man among you. My days are past. My purposes are broken off, even the thoughts of my heart. They change the night into day. The light is short because of darkness. If I wait, the grave is mine house. I have made my bed in the darkness. This guy is depressed. He is feeling the weight of life right now. He's got the world on his shoulders. He sees all the things that have happened in his life, and he's weighing it against the end. He can see his mortality, and it's terrifying. I have said to corruption, thou art my father. To the worm, thou art my mother and my sister. Where is now my hope? For as my hope, who shall see it? All hope is gone. There's no hope for me. They shall go down to the bars of the pit, when our rest together is in the dust. Then answered Bildad the Shuhite, and said, How long will it be ere ye make an end of words? How long are you going to talk? That's what he's saying. How long are you going to sit there talking? Mark, and afterwards we will speak. In other words, just tell us when we can start talking. Never mind what you're saying. Tell us when it's our turn to talk. Wherefore are we counted as beasts, and reputed vile in your sight? He teareth himself in his anger, that the earth shall be forsaken for thee. And shall the rock be removed out of his place? Yea, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. The light shall be dark in his tabernacle, and his candle shall be put out with him. The steps of his strength shall be straitened, and his own counsel shall cast him down. For he is cast into a net by his own feet, and he walketh upon a snare. The jinn shall take him by the heel, and the robber shall prevail against him. Now, this is an interesting phrase. Do you know what a jinn is? A jinn is a demon whose spirit is made of smoke and fire. That's where we get our legend of the genie from. That's what a jinn is. Look it up. There's a guy in the Bible talking about one. Just thought you should know that that's a real thing. Or at least that guy thought so. The snare is laid for him in the ground, and a trap for him in the way. Terrors shall make him afraid on every side, and shall drive him to his feet. His strength shall be hunger bitten, and destruction shall be ready at his side. It shall devour the strength of his skin. Even the firstborn of death shall devour his strength. His confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and it shall bring him to the king of terrors. It shall dwell in his tabernacle, because it is none of his. Brimstone shall be scattered upon his habitation. His roots shall be dried up beneath, and above shall his branches be cut off. His remembrance shall perish from the earth, and he shall have no name in the street. He shall be driven from light into darkness, and chased out of the world. He shall neither have son nor nephew among his people, nor any remaining in his dwelling. Some friend, huh? They that come after him shall be astonished at his day, as they that went before were affrighted. Surely such are the dwellings of the wicked, and this is the place of him that knoweth not God. Then Job answered and said, How long will ye vex my soul, and break me to pieces with your words? These 10 times have ye reproached me. Ye are not ashamed that ye make yourselves strange to me? Are you not ashamed that you have turned against me because I'm in need, because I'm in my hour of weakness? And rather than being there to be a strength for me, you have turned on me with your words, and you hurt me every time you talk to me. And 10 times you have reproached me in this conversation. And are you not ashamed of yourself? How long are you going to be this way? I thought you were my friend. And be it indeed that I have erred, if I have made a mistake, mine error remaineth with myself. It has nothing to do with you. What are you even doing here talking to me? If indeed ye will magnify yourselves against me, and plead against me my reproach, know now that God hath overthrown me, and hath compassed me with his net. I'm beat. God has beaten me. He has overthrown me. I'm done. I can't fight this fight. Behold, I cry out of wrong, but I am not heard. I cry aloud, but there is no judgment. I'm reaching for God with both hands, and there's nothing there. I'm terrified. You should be too. Instead, you are attacking me like I've done something wrong. He hath fenced me up my way that I cannot pass. He has fenced up my way that I cannot pass. He hath set darkness in my paths. He hath stripped me of my glory, and taken the crown from my head. He hath destroyed me on every side, and I am gone, and mine hope hath he removed like a tree. Deep in the roots, even the roots of my hope are gone. He hath also kindled his wrath against me, and he counteth me unto him as one of his enemies. His troops come together and raise up their way against me, and encamp round about my tabernacle. His body. Body being the temple, tabernacle. He hath put my brethren far from me, and mine acquaintance are verily estranged from me. My kinfolks have failed. My familiar friends have forgotten me. They that dwell in mine house and my maids count me for a stranger. I am an alien in their sight. I called my servants, and he gave me no answer. I entreated him with my mouth. My breath is strange to my wife, though I entreated for the children's sake of mine own body. Yea, young children despised me. I arose, and they spake against me. All my inward friends abhor me, and they whom I loved are turned against me. My bone cleaveth to my skin and to my flesh, and I am escaped with the skin of my teeth. Have pity upon me. Now he's on a pity party. Have pity upon me. He says it twice. O ye my friends, for the hand of God hath touched me. Why do ye persecute me as God, and are not satisfied with my flesh? Oh, that my words were now written. Oh, that they were printed in a book, that they were graven with an iron pen and lead in rock forever. For I know that my Redeemer liveth, that he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth. That's Jesus, by the way. And though after my skin worms destroy this body, yet in my flesh shall I see God, whom I shall see from myself, and mine eyes shall behold, and not another. Though my reins be consumed within me, pity, 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 pity. But ye should say, why persecute we him? Seeing the root of the matter is found in me? Be ye afraid of the sword, for wrath bringeth the punishments of the sword, that ye may know there is a judgment. And then answered Zophar the Naamathite, and said, Therefore do my thoughts cause me to answer, and for this I make haste. I have heard the check of my reproach, and the spirit of my understanding causeth me to answer. I'm big and tough and haughty, I know everything. I'm a smart, uh, pastoral kind of guy. I'm professorial in nature. So let me answer you. Knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon the earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment? Though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reacheth unto the clouds, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, Where is he? He shall fly away as a dream, and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night. The eye also which saw him shall see him no more, neither shall his place any more behold him. His children shall seek to please the poor, and his hand shall restore their goods. His bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue, though he spare it, and forsake it not, but keep it still with his mouth, yet his meat in his bowels is turned, and is the gall of asps within him. He's got snakes in his belly. He hath swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. God shall cast them out of his belly. He shall suck the poison of asps. The viper's tongue shall slay him. He shall not see the rivers, the floods, the brooks of honey and the butter. That which he labored for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down. According to his substance shall the restitution be, that he shall not rejoice therein, because he hath oppressed and hath forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away an house which he builded not. Surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which is desired. There shall none of his meat be left. Therefore shall no man look for his goods. This man is worthless. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. He shall be in need when he's at his best, he will be in need. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, God shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eaten. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. It is drawn, and cometh out of the body. Yea, the glittering sword cometh out of his gall. Terrors are upon him. All darkness shall be hid in his secret places. A fire not blown shall consume him. It shall go ill with him that is left in his tabernacle. The heaven shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. The increase of his house shall depart, and his goods shall flow away in the day of his wrath. This is the portion of a wicked man from God, and the heritage appointed unto him by God. But Job answered and said, Hear diligently my speech. Listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth, and let this be your consolations. Suffer me that I may speak, and after that I have spoken, mark on. Let me say what I've got to say, and then you can chide me all you wish. As for me, is my complaint to man. And if it were so, why should not my spirit be troubled? Mark me, and be astonished, and lay your hands upon your mouths. Have your breath taken away. Even when I remember, I am afraid, and trembling taketh hold on my flesh. Wherefore do the wicked live, become old, yea, are mighty in power? Their seed is established in their sight with them, and their offspring before their eyes. Their houses are safe from fear, neither the rod of God upon them. Their bull gendereth, and faileth not. Their cow calveth, and casteth not her calf. They send forth their little ones like a flock, and their children dance. They are happy. They are functional. They are doing what they're supposed to be doing. They take a timbrel and a harp, musical instruments, and rejoice at the sound of the organ. They spend their days in wealth, and in a moment go down to the grave. Therefore they say unto God, Depart from us, for we desire not the knowledge of thy ways. What is the Almighty, that we should serve him? Do you hear what's happening here? Now he is questioning the validity of the servitude of God. You don't do that. You don't tempt the Lord your God. Well, in his ultimate state, that's what he's got left. He's now questioning God. He is so very close to cursing God. Which, to be fair, is exactly what Satan said he would do if God removed his protection from him. What is the Almighty, that we should serve him? And what profit should we have if we pray unto him? Is that how you think it works? You think that God is there to answer your prayers? Is he a genie? You rub a lamp and he pops up to please you? Is that what you think? Lo, their good is not in their hand. The counsel of the wicked is far from me. How oft is the candle of the wicked put out? How oft cometh their destruction upon them? God distributeth sorrows in his anger. They are as subtle before the wind as chaff that the storm carrieth away, like flakes of dust. God layeth up his iniquity for his children. He rewardeth him, and he shall know it. His eyes shall see his destruction, and he shall drink of the wrath of the Almighty. For what pleasure hath he in his house after him, when the number of his months is cut off in the midst? Shall any teach God knowledge, seeing he judgeth those that are high? One dieth in his full strength, being wholly at ease and quiet. His breasts are full of milk, his bones are moistened with marrow. Another dieth in the bitterness of his soul, and never eateth with pleasure. They shall lie down alike in the dust, and the worms shall cover them. Doesn't matter how rich you are or how poor you are. When you die the same way. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how privileged your life is or how tough it was. When you die just the same as everybody else does, in the dirt. Behold, I know your thoughts, and the devices which you wrongfully imagine against me. You think this is my fault, but it's not. For ye say, where is the house of the prince? And where are the dwelling places of the wicked? Have ye not asked them that go by the way? And do you not know their tokens? You not know what they would say if you ask them, the strangers that walk by? That the wicked is reserved to the day of destruction. They shall be brought forth to the day of wrath. Who shall declare his way to his face? Who shall repay him with what he hath done? Yet shall he be brought to the grave, and shall remain in the tomb? No. The clods of the valley shall be sweet unto him, and every man shall draw after him, as there are innumerable before him. There are too many people in this world. How then comfort ye me in vain, seeing in your answers there remaineth falsehood? How can you comfort me when you're telling me a pack of lies, where you're incorrect about your presumptions and your understanding of what's going on here? You're incorrect. You have seen it the wrong way, and you think you're comforting me? Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, can a man be profitable unto God as he that is wise, and may be profitable unto himself? Is it any pleasure to the Almighty that thou art righteous? Or is it gain to him that thou makest thy ways perfect? Will he reprove thee for fear of thee? Will he enter with thee into judgment? Is not thy wickedness great, and thine iniquities infinite? For thou hast taken a pledge from thy brother for naught, and stripped the naked of their clothing. What is he saying here? He's asking Job, does it profit God that you are a righteous man? Does God care whether you're righteous or not? Does it gain him any pleasure to see that you work so hard to walk in the upright? Well, not particularly, no. Does it matter to God if you're righteous or not? Well, it does matter, because he put you here to make that decision. But in the grand scheme of things, is it a big change in his life if you happen to be righteous or if you happen to turn to wickedness? Well, we don't really know the answer to that, because we don't know what the motivations of God is. We know what he's asked of us, but we don't know why he wants that. So, why not be wicked? Well, you must have faith. God told you to be upright, therefore you should be. Doesn't matter if it pleases him or not, or gains him anything. That's irrelevant. That's between God and himself. You're just supposed to do what you're supposed to do. Thou hast not given water to the weary to drink, and thou hast withholden bread from the hungry. Has he? But as for the mighty man, he had the earth, and the honorable man dwelt in it. Thou hast sent widows away empty, and the arms of the fatherless have been broken. Now see, he's accusing him of these things, but they're not true. Job has not done any of these things. Therefore, snares are round about thee. I guess this guy's trying to make a reason for why Job's in the position he's in. And sudden fear troubleth thee, or darkness that thou canst not see, and abundance of waters cover thee. Is not God in the height of heaven? And behold, the height of the stars, how high are they? And thou sayest, how doth God know? Well, because he put them there. That's how he knows. Never lose faith or question God. That's right, 420. And God's about to show Job why that is true. Trust me when I tell you that God is hearing this conversation. This is a long-winded conversation. It goes on for some time. And it's four men sitting around bickering about each other and questioning God and his reasoning for things. And God has just about had enough of it. And then God's going to handle it in a minute. So y'all hang on. We are getting there. Does God know how high the stars are? Can he judge through the dark cloud? Thick clouds are covering to him, that he seeth not, and he walketh in the circuit of heaven. Oh, yeah? You think God's one of those stars up there? Hast thou marked the old way with which wicked men have trodden, which were cut down out of time, whose foundation was overflowed with the flood? Which said unto God, Depart from us, and what can the Almighty do for them? Yet he filled their houses with good things. But the counsel of the wicked is far from me. The righteous see it, and are glad, and the innocent laugh them to scorn. Whereas our substance is not cut down, but the remnant of them the fire consumeth. Acquaint now thyself with him, and be at peace. Get to know God, why don't you? Thereby good shall come unto thee. Well, Job happens to be more righteous than any of these three guys. But this guy's telling him he should get acquainted with God because he obviously doesn't know him because he's in a bad way right now. That's not how God functions. In this case, yes, but in everyday life, your ailments or your troubles are not caused by God. It's more than likely circumstance, or, smoking might cause cancer. You can't question God because you get cancer. Receive, I pray thee, the laws from his mouth, and lay up his words in thine heart. If thou return to the Almighty, thou shalt be built up. Thou shalt put away iniquity far from thy tabernacle. Then shalt thou lay up gold as dust, and the gold of Ophir as the stones of the brooks. Yea, the Almighty shall be thy defense, and thou shalt have plenty of silver. That's also not how God works. Uh-oh. My lighter runneth out. That's not good. For then shalt thou have thy delight in the Almighty, and thou shalt lift up thy face unto God. Thou shalt make thy prayer unto him, and he shall hear thee, and thou shalt pray the vows. Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee, and the light shall shine upon thy ways. When men are cast down, then thou shalt say, There is lifting up, and he shall save the humble person. He shall deliver the island of the innocent, and it is delivered by the pureness of thine hands. Then Job answered and said, Even today is my complaint bitter. My stroke is heavier than my groaning. Oh, that I knew where I might find him. If I only knew where I could look for God and find him, that I might come even to his seat, I would order my cause before him and fill my mouth with arguments. I bet you would. I bet you're quite angry at God for doing what he's done to you, even though he didn't necessarily do it to you. He allowed it to be done, but he allowed it to be done so that you could testify to his gratefulness. Instead, you are being a coward right now. Right now, you are questioning the very God who has protected you your whole life. The very God who has given you the strength and the riches that you have, and the knowledge and the comforts that you exist in. And it only took a few days for you to get to this point. Think about that for a minute. I would know the words which he would answer me, and would understand what he would say unto me. Will he plead against me with his great power? No, but he would put strength in me. There the righteous might dispute with him, so should I be delivered forever from my judge. Behold, I go forward, but he is not there, and backwards, but I cannot perceive him, and on the left hand where he doth work, but I cannot behold him. He hideth himself on the right hand, that I cannot see him. But he knoweth the way that I take, and when he hath tried me, I shall come forth as gold. My foot hath held his steps. His way have I kept, and not declined. Neither have I gone backward from commandment of his lips. I have esteemed the words of his mouth more than my necessary food. But he is in one mind. And who can return him, or who can turn him? And what is his soul desireth, even that he doeth? For he performeth the thing that is appointed for me, and many such things are with him. So why do you think God has abandoned you? Therefore I am troubled at his presence when I consider I am afraid of him. Well, you should be afraid of him. You should reverence God, not terror, but reverence, fear, because he is God Almighty, and you should tremble at his presence. You are not equal to him, and everything you have, even the breaths you take, he gives permission for. So yeah, you should feel fear when thinking of him. And you should not feel abandoned because you call out and he doesn't jump to your answer. God is watching this whole thing take place. He has got his eye on it full speed. But Job, from his perspective, feels like God has abandoned him entirely. There's nowhere to be found. For God maketh my heart soft, and the Almighty troubleth me. Because I was not cut off before the darkness, neither hath he covered the darkness from my face. Why, seeing times are not hidden from the Almighty, do they that know him not see his days? Some remove the landmarks, they violently take away flocks, and feed thereof. They drive away the ass of the fatherless, and they take the widow's ox for a pledge. Bad people. They turn the needy out of the way. The poor of the earth hide themselves together. Behold, as wild asses in the desert go forth to their work, rising betimes for a prey of old times or before times. The wilderness yieldeth food for them and for their children. They reap every one his corn in the field, and they gather the vintage of the wicked. They cause the naked to lodge without clothing, that they have no coverage in the cold. They are wet with the showers of the mountains, and embrace the rocks for the want of shelter. Whew. That's where we're going to stop for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We'll pick this up next time on chapter 24, verse 9, and continue in this onslaught of browbeating that Job is taking from his friends and his defense of himself. I hope that that's touched you in some way. I hope that your bodies are nourished and your minds are filled with the knowledge of God by this reading. I hope that you have learned something. I hope that you've taken something away from this. I hope that you're thinking about some things, that you bring into perspective, into focus, some of the questions that linger in the back of your mind about God. And I hope that this is a good platform for you to jump off into those questions safely and comfortably, and know that there's someone on the other side that will answer any question you may have. Before we get into those questions, though, won't you please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and press the bell icon so you get notifications of when I'm going to be here. Smash that like button. It's free. It's right in front of you. There's no excuse. Reach out and touch it right now so that I get the numbers. We need them. Share this video with somebody you love. Better yet, share it with somebody you don't love. Bring them into the family. Make them part of the fold. Be part of their solutions, not part of the problems. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you're thinking about. Question me, curse me, bless me, challenge me, confront me, conform me, drink my Kool-Aid, drink your own Kool-Aid. As long as you're thinking critically, that's what I want. Critical thought coming from that brain of yours. And if you love the Word of God and you can see the value in what I'm trying to build here, and you'd like to be part of it, be part of something special, and you want to help out in some kind of way, or if you feel led by God to send your tithes, offerings, or love offerings, or if you just like to buy me a cup of coffee and say, hey, good job, Jake, whatever you feel necessary, would you please take a moment, go to paypal.me/JakeJohnsonBand. Every little bit helps. It's a win-win. It's a blessing for me. It's a blessing for you too, because God does notice these things. And with that, I appreciate your support and your patronage, and I will take all of your questions and comments as required. Oh yeah, good platform. Thank you, sir. Bookmark inserted. This is a long-winded read. I didn't think we might get to the God part tonight. I was hoping we'd get there, but it's a long run to get there, because there's about 9 chapters or so, maybe 10 of them just jabber-jawing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, questioning the nature of life, questioning, all the highbrow thoughts that scholarly people would question about the nature of the world and the nature of God and the nature of man, and all that stuff is in there. And it gets down to the wire. Bottom line, I'm dying here, folks, and I don't know why. I didn't do anything wrong, but yet I'm being tortured. That's the base of all of that. Well, God's gonna let him know what he thinks about it. We'll get to it next Sunday. Have to be patient. Live your week, enjoy your life, and then let's get into some seriousness on Sunday. Do you have any questions or comments? Anybody that listen to that, is there anything that jumped out at you that you might not have fully understood? Thank you. Much love and respect, Jake. Thank you. Much love and respect back to you, sir. I'm grateful for your presence. April, are you still with me? Diego, did you bottom out, buddy? I know that's an intense read. A lot of emotions in that. Yep, the Bible is timeless, and yes, those things do still happen. People still make the same questions. They're still facing the same existential crises. And sometimes it seems like we're deeper in than we have been before. Sometimes it seems like we're going backwards instead of forwards, but that's the way the world turns, I guess. Where are my peoples? Keep your faith, everyone. Never doubt God. Well, it's not a smart move, that's for sure, because in the end, God will be standing when everything else falls. It's probably a pretty smart idea to keep your eyes on him, if for no other reason than self-preservation. It's better to err on the side of caution than the side of foolishness. And from where I'm sitting, God's holding all the cards. That's the guy whose side I want to be on. Promise. Plus, I've read the end of the book. The other guy loses. So, spoiler alert. And if you don't think that these things are coming to pass as we go through life, just open the book and compare it to the history as you go along with it. And you will see time and time again where these things take place over and over and over and over. They've been going on for hundreds of years. And they will continue to go on until we reach the end. And that we are not too far from. I don't know how far, but we're not too far. Some of the stuff in Revelations and Daniel and some of the other places that talk about the end time, some of that stuff is happening now. Some of it happened 50 years ago. So we are there. We're in the end times. I don't know how long we got, but it ain't very long. According to Jesus, it's the length of a generation. A generation is either 30, 70, or 120 years, depending on what you're talking about in respect to what you're talking about. And we've already crossed the 30 and the 70 mark. We've only got 120. So somewhere in that short vicinity, we've got about 40 years left out of that. Because it started in 1948 when Israel became a nation again. That was the beginning of that mark. And so, hey, Sasquatch, I didn't realize you were here. Hello, Sasquatch. So, we'll see what happens. Great read tonight, Jake. Thank you, dear. Do you have any questions? Or comments? Or an existential crisis of your own? I know I'm going through one right now. How about you? I've been under spiritual attack for the last 10 years. And I'm winning. Because I am wearing the armor of God and I'm armed. Lots of motivation in the Bible, yes. It'll cause you to think right, that's for sure. Kind of give you enough drama that makes you think, well, man, maybe I'm looking at this the wrong way. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I've had a great night tonight. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and contributing to the conversation and all that you do. You mean the world to me. I will gladly answer any of your questions and comments, but I also have to get up and go to work in the morning, so I'm going to call it. It's 10:10. That's 10 minutes past, so we did good. You missed that one? You mean you missed the whole thing? Well, that's not good. Project Antonio, hello and welcome to the show. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button. We're here doing this every Sunday and Monday. And then on Wednesdays and Fridays, we hang out and party like animals. I hope you enjoyed the show. Anyway, as I was saying, thank you guys so much for being a part of this and making it a special night. And thank you for listening. I promise you that you'll get something out of it, one way or the other. Every night might not be your night, but one night might be just the night you need. So that's why it pays to be here. Caucasian Sasquatch, are you invisible? I can't see you, bro. He's just not participating, but he's in the background listening. There he is. My hands are wet. I have been here. Thank you, sir. And now I must bid you adieu. It is that time of the night. So, thank you guys very much. I love you from the bottom of my heart. You mean the world to me. I can't wait. I'm on pins and needles to get back into it on Sunday. But before then, I'll see you on Wednesday. We might even play a little music on Wednesday. We'll see what happens. Until then, have a great night, and thank you so much for watching. Peace.